Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today BMW Sitna have kindly loaned me a G60 5 Series. Now I used to have an F10 5 Series back in the day, and this car has grown in size. I'm going to go through the usual walk around on this car, give you like a spec talk on it, and then head out on those country lanes and take you for a drive. I know that the M5 has been all over social media recently, but in reality most people are going to end up with like a 530e. So the new 5 Series, this one is the 530e M Sport. It's got a few packs on it, so we're going to talk about them. This one's finished off in the Brooklyn grey, which I think is quite a decent colour, with the black accents going off around the car. I think it does look quite nice. Let's start off from the front end then. So this car has got an active grille. That seems to be the talking part, and it's got, I think they call it the iconic grille with this kind of light feature going around it. The lights, these are what they call the BMW LED lights. They're like matrix lights basically. I do like the front end. I know some of you guys probably don't, but on this color with that grille and the black accents going off, it does look quite nice. It's got the M Sport Plus pack on it, so you get these bi-color 21-inch alloy wheels. We've got the red caliper behind there as well. These M badges have gone quite big in size. They look a bit odd, but there we are. It's got the 360 surround camera as well on this car. It's got the comfort pack. Overall it has got larger in size. It does look quite big, and the front end, like there, that's quite heavy. The back end looks quite smart. I think you have got the Hofmeister kink with the 5 in there, in case you forget this is a 5 Series. It does actually look and feel like a 7 Series when you're driving it. It's massive, this thing is. I do like the rear end. I think those lights are quite striking, quite slim as well. Let me know your thoughts on this so far. You don't have any exhausts, and equally you don't have any fakery going on either. There is, like, I think a exhaust system under there, obviously, because it is a hybrid, but you can't really see any exhaust tips or anything like that. I do like this angle. It does look quite nice. I'm getting quite cold, guys, so I'm going to jump into the car. So the interior of the new 5 Series is a real step up compared to the previous cars. Let's start off with this steering wheel. For the first time, flat bottom. It's got quite a nice kind of design feature going on here. Obviously, being a hybrid, you've got like a blue ring on the BMW emblem. The kind of finish of the leather on the steering wheel is pretty good. You have got like a 12 o'clock marker, which you can probably configure in different colors, but the steering wheel does feel nice. It's not as chunky as, like, say, previous 5 Series steering wheels have been, so that's quite good. You are flanked with these lovely, like, LCD displays. I think that's a 14-inch there and probably a 12-inch one in front of you. The center console is really nice. You haven't got like a gear shifter anymore. You've got like a little gear selector, but you've got quite a few shortcut buttons here, so they have still retained the rotary dial here for, like, say, the iDrive system, which makes it quite easy to use. I can't remember what it was it the iX one that I was in that didn't have it, and everything was through the main screens, which became a bit awkward. With there, at least you still got that. You've got some shortcut buttons around there, and then you got a physical volume button, and then some other kind of shortcuts and my modes and stuff like that there. The one thing that I do find a little bit disappointing is you have got, like, everything is kind of touchscreen, so all the heating controls are through the screen. I know everyone's going through there, so that's not a biggie, but like these vents, for example, you've got these little toggle switches to direct the vents up and down, but then you've got these sliders here, wherever they are, as you can see, to open the vents up, which is a bit odd. Equally, you've got one on this side here as well. To open the vent up, you can just slide it across, which is a bit odd. And then, yeah, to direct the air feed, it's there, which is a bit awkward. Harman Kardon, nice sound system in here, which looks and sounds pretty good. Again, you've got touch sensitive buttons, I think, here to lock the door and open them. I think physical buttons just down here would have been just about right as well. The kind of fit and finish on this car is pretty decent. So you've got like soft touch plastics everywhere, whatever you touch, and they are of quite high quality, like the dash design and everything. You can get this, from what I was told, with like lighting features all the way across there. I can't remember what they called it. I think it was like dynamic or something like that. You have got like a lighting feature that goes there, but this trim piece can be swapped out for like a full kind of lighting feature around here as well, a bit like the one that you get perhaps in the M5. Overall, I do think that the cabin is quite a nice place to kind of sit. So these seats, they have got a real nice feeling. They seem to be quite, you know, well cushioned and whatnot. So overall, it is quite good. I do like the armrest. Again, that's, you know, got quite a bit of cushioning in there. The other thing that I noticed, that the glove box stand there as well has got a nice bit of cushioning on there. So one thing I don't like about these seats is that they're not fully electrically operated. So you can electrically operate the backrest and height as well, but to slide them forward, you got to pull a lever and push the seat forward, which I think is ridiculous in a 5 Series that's costing there on 60k. I had the same kind of seat set up in my F10, which was from over 10 years ago. Why can't BMW offer fully electric seats in this day and age? I just don't get it. The other thing is, although I do like this kind of cabin design and whatnot in the way it is, this high kind of gloss black plastic here is not only prone to scratches, but it attracts a lot of dust as well. We have got like wireless charging over there, which is quite good. My phone is just chilling out there and being charged up. And again, I just love the way you've got these kind of displays. We have also got a head-up display in this car, so I kind of think that this car's probably got like a tech pack kind of fitted to it. This car has got a few packs on it, so I think comfort pack for easy entry. You've got the tech pack because it's got HK, and got the M Sport Plus pack because of the way the car is set up from outside, with the black high gloss black accents and the big red brake calipers as well. So yeah, I think it's quite a nice package. In terms of powertrain, this is a 530e, so it's a 2-litre 4-cylinder engine with hybridization. It pushes out something in the region of about 300 odd horsepower and quite a bit of torque as well. We're now going to head over onto those country lanes, give you my driving impressions of this car. And yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it, because although people out there are getting really excited about the M5 being hybrid and, you know, it's going to be a great company car, I'm sure it will be, the honest truth is that most people are going to end up with the 530e, and this is going to be BMW's bestseller. They're not offering this with any other powertrain, so you're not going to get like a straight 6 engine, you're not going to get any diesels or anything like that. You got a 520, you got a 530e, you got an M5. And of course you got the i5 as well. So let's go over to those country lanes and give you my driving impressions of this car. So before we get onto those country lanes, let me just tell you a little bit about the size of this thing. This thing is huge. I've had some big saloons in my time. I've had a W212 E-Class Mercedes from about 12-13 years ago. I've had an F10 5 Series from 10 years ago. I've had 2 A7s recently in the last sort of 5 years. Thereabouts. This thing dwarfs all of those cars, even dwarfs my A7. I had this car parked up on my drive earlier on when Dan dropped it off to me, and where the A7 would stop in terms of its length, this carried on by another like foot at least, so it's massive. It is a very nice, comfortable place to be. I mean, like I said, like these seats are, once you got them in the right position, they are nice. They hold you in the right places. They're not like a bucket seat, but you know, like they've got a lot of like nice cushioning and whatnot, and they do feel quite nice. The head-up display is probably one of the largest head-up displays I've seen in recent times on this car. These displays as well, fantastic, absolutely love them. The engine and the powertrain, obviously it's a hybrid. I have done like a video on like a 530e, which was the Touring, the G30. I think the drivetrain is going to be very similar. I think what I'm trying to get across in this vid is going to be, obviously this car is going to weigh well over 2 tons. How this drives day-to-day basis and whatnot. I've got no charge in the battery anyway, so I'm sure I'm not really going to make use of the full hybridization on this drive. But I have noticed that when you start up the car, it starts up in electric mode. And then obviously the engine kicks in as soon as you kind of prod the throttle like there. I was a little bit distracted then because I just saw an M240i up the road, one of the new ones, and it had a number plate that was very similar to my private plate. That's what actually caught my eye. Quick practicality test of the 5 Series. See how much space there is in the back. Large door, opens nice and wide, and then once you're inside, this seat is in my driving position, so it's exactly where I'd want to be. I'm 5'7", so not the tallest guy, but I've got ample knee room in here and foot space as well. I like the way the rear bench is kind of like tilted a little bit, so you kind of sit deep into it. And again, the seats in the back here are really nice and comfortable. Nice sort of armrest as well. The boot's quite big, but I know that being on hybrid, you've probably got some batteries under there, so it's not as big as it can be, but overall you can get some large suitcases in there. I was looking for the button then, but it doesn't have it. There we go. Electric power steering, obviously that's the way things are across every car now. It's not a bad thing, to be honest, because the steering is quite light, and in something like this it suits the car's nature. This car's fitted with all of the kind of radars and stuff, so you probably hear quite a lot of like gongs going off. That's just the car just telling me to stay in lane. It's such a wide car that I'm always seeming to drift over onto the other side, just like there you go again. It is quite comfortable. You have got adaptive suspension in this as well, and it does like pretty much like a decent job of like going over these kind of like rough tarmac that we're on at the moment. Is this going to be a car that you're actually going to like say thrash around? I don't think it is. It's got like enough power. I mean, if I just put my foot down there, yeah, there's quite a bit of a delay from the car changing gears and whatnot, but the initial kind of throttle response with the electric motor, that's definitely there. I think if you're trying to kick the car down, there's a bit of a delay, but we have only got like a 4-cylinder engine in this, so very quickly it does become quite strained. Okay, the Range Rover wanted to not budge out the way, but there we go. And this is the thing, when you've got quite a wide car like this, it really does make driving on these narrow country lanes quite intimidating. I mean, yeah, it's probably not a car that you're going to be coming down on a weekend to thrash on the country lane. Yeah, these gongs are just, everything's just going off right now with this, telling you to slow down, telling you like, you know, you're just going over like the line. That's a bit annoying. You do feel a lot of body lean in this thing as well, like especially like when you are kind of trying to carry some speed through, like say the bends, you do feel a bit of body lean. I think the whole kind of M Sportness in this car is really diluted because it's not really like sporty in any way. It's a nice cruiser, and I think that's where I think this car should actually remain, like rather than throwing sport on everything or like an M Sport badging and giving you like this M Sport tricolor type of like seat belt, steering wheel and all of that. It's a nice kind of touch, but there's no way you can sit in there and kind of think, yeah, you know what, it's like a sports saloon, because it just isn't. It's a nice luxury saloon. So I guess one way to put this G60's design into perspective is that, do you remember when the E60 was launched after the E39 and how everyone hated it because it was quite large and chunky and the whole Chris Bangles design was like all over the place and whatnot? Well, the F10 5 Series and then the G30 5 Series was like quite a toned down version, you know, kind of going back towards the E39, let's say. This has then turned up, breaking the kind of mold and going back to like that chunky kind of E60 kind of vibe. That's what it gives me. It gives me like an E60 vibe initially. When this was first launched, I didn't really like take to it as well, but now that I've seen it and been up close to it, it doesn't look too bad. And that's exactly how I felt when the E60 was launched. I didn't like it when I first saw it, but then when I started seeing more of them and I actually like got behind the wheel of one, I actually began to like that car very much. I think the road manners of this car are pretty decent. Like I said earlier, it does do a good job of like going over these like bumps in the road really well. It does help that the car's got like quite a nice light steering and a decent turning circle. Yeah, right there, as I came around the corner, you could just feel the car running a little bit wide, and then obviously coming back in, and that could be because the roads are so greasy, could be because the car's well over 2 tons. All of these kind of things you can't at times defy physics. But as you can see, like from like a cockpit view, it's quite a nice place to be sitting in and like enjoying, like say, all of this tech. There is a bit of like say road noise or like wind whistle coming from like say the wing mirrors. They are quite large. I especially notice it from the passenger side over there. The sound is something. Now I know I've got the car in sports mode, but that engine, you can tell that it feels quite strained at times, especially when you are like at half to full throttle, which is probably why BMW are piping through some of that electric noise just to dilute that the engine sound. There's a deep down I kind of think that they know that it's not sounding that great. Yeah, it does make a sound like a typical 4-cylinder sound. Well, I've got the gearbox into sport mode, put the car into sport mode as well. This is another faff. You got a button down there, then you got to hit the screen as well. I mean, it does get down the road quite well. The performance is pretty decent. I mean, just slow down here. That kind of sound, like you can hear like a bit of whooshing going on like through the speakers of the car. I mean, that's kind of portraying that the electric motor and the engine are working together to give you that performance. We have got a boost pedal as well, which I'll try soon, but just give you a bit of space. That's quite gimmicky. Yeah, if you can hear that, let me know what you think of that. And that's certainly something that wasn't happening in the previous 530e. That's on this one. So let me know what you kind of think about that. I like how the head-up display changes in sport mode. It, like I said, is one of the biggest one. I've got a gear indicator, I've got a rev counter, and then I've got the speed as well, all showing as tiers. The camera's not going to pick you up, so it's going to be difficult for me to show, but it's massive. I mean, if you went and you leased this car or you got it as a company car, I think you would genuinely be quite impressed with the way this car is. It does weigh quite a bit, but it does perform quite well as well. You know, you have got that hybridization, and most hybrid cars are usually like say a 2 litre in this kind of day and age, gesture control. So yeah, I think as a package it kind of works. If you are looking for like that nice sonorous sound like of a 6-cylinder, I don't think you're gonna get that in this kind of car. Either go for a fully electric car and you have no sound, or you get like one of these where you got a bit of sound. And I'd rather have the 530e over the 520i, or the 520 that it's called. It does get down the road well, I've got to say that, because of that electric motor. You know, I think when you're in sport mode and you really floor it, there's not much of a delay in terms of the gearbox kicking down, and the electric motor, when that was working with the engine, there's not much of a throttle response delay either, so it's fairly quick. try this boost function. Yeah, for 10 seconds it'll give you like a full power at your disposal, so it kind of works, but I don't think that it's as apparent in this as it was in the iX1 that was in a few weeks back. Now this is where the sheer size of this car intimidates these country lanes. Although I like the steering wheel, I think when you are on these kind of like fast country lanes, the steering doesn't really give you much confidence because you can't really feel what's going on with the way the wheels are communicating with the road and how that kind of portrays into the palm of your hands. It just doesn't seem to do a good job of it. It's very, very vague. Okay guys, so I'm going to conclude my thoughts on this G60 5 Series. I do think it's quite a quality product. The interior is finished off really well. The tech on offer is pretty good. You can spec this to your heart's content and really have pretty much everything on it. I think in this 530e it makes sense for a lot of people, company car drivers, you know, even like say on a personal note, you could probably have one of these rather than the full electric version and get decent economy out of it. On these country lanes, you probably wouldn't drive it like the way I have, but I know these lanes and this is where I can really get to understand the car. The car does feel heavy. In normal traffic around town and stuff, it'd be absolutely fine. But the thing is, the car is massive. So if you're trying to maneuver through like say a tight, narrow street or anything, you're going to struggle with this car. It's massive in all respects. It's wide, it's long, it's tall as well. The engine can be more refined. I don't know how much sound deadening or lack of there is of that, because you do hear the engine in sports mode quite a bit, and it's a 4-pot, so it's not great from that point. But the overall performance and stuff, it will definitely keep up with modern day traffic. I do hope that you have found this video informative and useful. If you have, give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hopefully I'll be back with more M340i content very soon. Take care, bye.